Take a look at this picture. If I asked you to think of some ways that this mountaintop could describe life, what would you say? Would you think of words like jagged, dangerous, unpredictable, risky? Or maybe you would think of words like inspiring, unforgettable, everlasting. Well, this afternoon, I'm going to tell you a story where all these answers are correct, and it's a story that starts with me standing on the top of this mountain in September 2012. This is a picture of Mount Whitney in California, and with an elevation of 14,505 feet above sea level, it is the tallest peak in the contiguous United States. I was a student at the Naval Postgraduate School at the time, and classmates of mine who were active duty Navy SEAL officers and friends invited me on their SEAL-only annual hike. The one-way distance to the top is over 11 miles, and together we climbed over 6,100 feet of elevation gain from Whitney Portal to Whitney Summit. Starting at midnight, with headlamps whose light rays pierced through our sweat-induced fog clouds, we summited just after sunrise. 3 members in our 10-person team suffered from altitude sickness, but they did not quit. We finished together. Unbeknownst to me, the Navy SEAL hikers, each one of them had carried with them a 10-pound stone in their pack. 1 stone for every fallen Navy SEAL who had been killed in action within the last 12 months. They buried those stones in a secret crevice on the vast summit of Whitney, and I had just enough time to snap this photo, an image that I could not erase from my mind. Inspired by what the Navy SEALs had done, I had an idea to create a living memorial back in my home state of Maine, and I called it the Summit Project. The Summit Project is a Maine-based nonprofit service organization that I created in 2013. It recovers the memories of Maine's fallen heroes through the voices of their families. Volunteers keep the memories alive by carrying the story and the stone of our heroes on tribute treks all over the world. It befits my home state of Maine, where nearly 1 in 7 adults is a veteran, among the highest concentrations in the nation. Consequently, however, we also have a disproportionate number of fallen heroes. Fallen heroes like Corporal Andrew Hutchins, a poet who loved to fish for salmon with his dad in the West Grand Lake, and Major J. Sweet Pea Aubin, who attended community college so he could earn a 4-year degree and fly helicopters for the Marine Corps. The Summit Project started as a small oral history project to learn about this generation, my generation, of post-9/11 fallen heroes. But it has since become a full-scale statewide movement that involves thousands of Maine citizens who are awed, moved, and motivated to live a life worthy of our heroes' sacrifice. Now, let me tell you how the Summit Project works through an example. Every new connection starts with the face of a fallen, and this is Private First Class Andrew Small of Wiscasset, Maine. He was killed in action on August 10th, 2006 in Nangarhar, Afghanistan, America's longest war. His platoon came under attack by enemy fire with rocket-propelled grenades and small arms fire. And during that ambush, Andrew charged the enemy, saved the lives of 2 of his squad mates, and was posthumously awarded the Silver Star. To honor her son, Mrs. Cindy Small unearthed a stone from the yard in which Andrew played as a child. On the day that I took this photo, Cindy Small shared with me that I was sitting at the same kitchen table where she prepared breakfast for Andrew before he went to school. She also shared with me her worst fear, that her son would be forgotten. You see, Andrew Small was just 19 years old when he paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country. I received the stone that day, and like all the stones in our program, we engraved them with indelible marks. Our hero's initials, rank, service branch, year of birth, year of death. The first person to carry the stone was M.J. Tracy, a cancer survivor grandmother from Kennebunk, Maine, who embarked on her special journey in Virginia and carried the stone every step of the way. And upon her return, she wrote, quote, "Dear Cindy, it has been such a privilege to honor Andrew's memory by carrying his memorial stone. Thank you for sharing his spirit. Thank you for your family's sacrifice. Your hero lives on in my heart." Before the Summit Project connected them, MJ and Cindy were unlikely friends. And Andrew's story had not been told. I created the Summit Project to be available to anyone who was willing to learn, to launch, and to learn. Here's what that means. For all the siblings in this room, for all the spouses in this room, and for all the parents in this room, imagine you're like Cindy Small, or Martha Goyette, or Lorna Harris, and we've asked you to unearth a special stone that uniquely represents your loved one. Stones have come from backyards, churchyards, farmers' fields, swimming holes, fishing holes, and even overseas. I ask you now, where would your stone come from? Where would your loved one's stone come from? We ask volunteers to carry the stones on tribute trucks of any kind. We ask them not to leave them at the top, but to bring them back so the cycle can continue. That's not all. We expect our hikers to write post-hike reflection letters addressed to surviving families, capturing the memories of our heroes and their Summit Project experience. In just 5 years' time, the stories and stones of our heroes have been shared in parades, marathons, and marches all across Maine and across America. They've also been shared on the peaks of Everest, Kilimanjaro, Iceland, Denali, Katahdin, Cadillac, many trips to Arlington Cemetery. When we look at the numbers, we know that we've connected with over 100 Gold Star families who together have received over 1,600 individualized letters, and our hikers, they've amassed over 17,000 miles of trails hiked. However, when I think about the Summit Project another way, I think it has helped to reveal and reinforce the character of my home state of Maine, and to a larger extent, the character of America. It's a character of service, integrity, duty, and loyalty. A Cub Scout troop displays the stones to illustrate the cost of freedom. An athlete voluntarily carries a stone during a 5K road race wearing a shirt that says "Believe in Heroes." A small town in Maine plans an ad hoc ceremony to honor their native sons, and a disabled veteran, standing in the lobby of a veterans hospital, displays the stones to share in grief. The Summit Project culture calls us to honor the fallen by challenging the living. I am proud to not only have created the Summit Project, but to now serve as the president of our board of directors. We've worked hard to train our all-volunteer staff in community outreach, operations, family onboarding, financial management, organizational leadership. While still there are thousands of others in our Summit Project family who have a mindset to develop partnerships all across Maine so that everyone can feel ownership in our nonpartisan mission. We are also proud of the diverse groups that have recognized the Summit Project's contribution to the public good. Praise from a 4th grade classroom in the governor's house. Honors from a veteran support group in the White House. Our core group of leaders believes that the Summit Project has indeed brought our state closer in the bonds of citizenship and service. But it is my hope that the healing and inspiring work of the Summit Project uplifts everyone involved. Although our heroes' lives were tragically cut short, we get a glimpse into the lives they did live and the choices they made, both on and off the battlefield, and how they treated each other, how they faced their fears, how they honored their commitments, choices that all of you make every day. But there's one more that's unique to them, how they defended and protected our way of life. In short videos, Gold Star families reveal the very best in their loved ones and the very best in themselves. And the retelling usually brings a sense of peace. Volunteers make connections with Gold Star families that generate new sources of solidarity, comfort, and inspiration that benefit both the families and the hikers alike. For me, the Summit Project is gratifying work because it uplifts others by creating a community where everyone can realize their best selves. On top of that, it encourages me, and I think others, to think about the legacies that we wish to leave behind. Our hikers have told us that carrying a stone has helped them to understand what it's like to serve, what it means to serve, and what it means to sacrifice for something greater. Long after the hikers come back, they tell us that the Summit Project experience has helped them to understand what it's like to serve. And they tell us that their experience has helped them keep perspective on the values that we all hold dear. We look after one another. We take care of one another. We are faithful to one another. And we should always try to lift one another up to higher places. Likewise, the future choices that I will make as a graduate of the Carroll School, and the future choices that all of you will make in this room, in your respective fields of science, law, education, theology, social justice, as well as the messages from the speakers who will follow me on this stage, represent a challenge that we can all undertake in the spirit of our fallen. In the years to come, I can imagine the Summit Project becoming a model for other states to replicate in their own unique way. But if that doesn't happen, I can feel rest assured that fallen heroes from Maine are honored, remembered, and toasted. As hikers continue to climb mountains in Maine and peaks around the world, I hope they continue to learn about this living memorial. And I hope their curiosity will lead them to learn about a life of a hero that they have never met, who fought in a war that they don't know and in a place they don't understand, but whose courage, compassion, integrity, and love can continue to influence and inspire generations to come. And in that moment, on a mountain in Maine or on a peak in a far-off land, we will know that the legacies of our heroes has endured. To close with the words that Lincoln spoke at Gettysburg, we will know that their ultimate sacrifice was not in vain, but only if we, all the living, make a choice to carry on their unfinished work toward creating a safer, sounder, more just America. Thank you.